There's a very specific and undeniable feeling that spreads through a basketball arena when a team is completely out of sync. You can see it in the players' body language, hear it in the murmurs of the crowd, and even notice it in the slow, mechanical movement of the ball. During the opening moments of the United States national team's matchup against Italy, that exact feeling seemed to hang over the court like a heavy fog. What we were watching was a group of the greatest women's basketball players in the world looking surprisingly ordinary, struggling to find any real rhythm against an international defense they were expected to dominate. The scoreboard showed a 5-5 tie after the first few minutes, which was an unusually slow start for a team known for its powerful offense. It was a sluggish and worrying beginning that made everyone watching ask the same question: how much longer would Team USA continue with a starting lineup that clearly wasn't working? For years, the basketball establishment has pushed a familiar narrative that seniority determines success, that a traditional slow-paced half-court offense is the safest approach in international competition, and that Caitlin Clark should patiently wait her turn behind veteran players. But against Italy, that narrative began to collapse right in front of everyone. The traditional starting lineup was struggling badly, and the offense lacked the energy and unpredictability needed to break through Italy's disciplined defense. Chelsea Gray, an outstanding and experienced floor general, was leading an offensive system that simply moved too slowly and predictably to create serious problems for the defense. Instead of flowing freely, the game was turning into a grinding, low-scoring battle where every possession felt heavy and difficult. Then a moment of clarity came from the Team USA sideline. With head coach Carl Lawsonway handling her collegiate duties during March Madness, assistant coach Nate Tibbetts was in charge. Looking at a stagnant offense and a scoreboard that barely moved, Tibbetts made a decisive decision. He ignored the usual hierarchy and set aside the politics that often influence lineup choices. Early in the first quarter, he looked down the bench and called for number 22. What happened next wasn't just a small shift in momentum. It was a complete takeover of the game. When Caitlin Clark stepped onto the court, Team USA had scored only 5 points. But over the next several minutes with Clark running the offense, the team exploded offensively. In a short span, the scoring jumped dramatically, turning the entire pace of the game around. The offense didn't simply get better. It completely transformed. The moment Clark took control of the basketball, the entire spacing of the court changed instantly. Italian defenders, who had been comfortably protecting the paint and reading passing lanes, suddenly had to extend their defense far beyond the three-point line. Clark's deep shooting range forced them into a constant state of urgency. And the moment that defensive pressure stretched outward, the entire Team USA offense came alive. Passing lanes opened, driving space appeared, and the offense began moving smoothly like a well-synchronized machine. What looked like a stagnant offense only moments earlier suddenly became an unstoppable force.
Let's get this going. Let me just... misdirection, backdoor, take it to the rack. Layup. Folks, look at the score, actually. 5-5. We only scored 5 points in the first 3 minutes of this game. Caitlin Clark.
Watch the absolute brilliance of this particular possession. This is exactly what people mean when they say a player can completely change the operating system of an offense. Clark has the ball, and every defender on the Italian team is locked in on her every move. They are expecting the deep three-pointer or pick-and-roll action. But Clark uses a brilliant piece of misdirection. With a subtle glance and perfect timing, she manipulates the defense and creates a tiny opening along the baseline. The backdoor cut is executed perfectly, and Clark delivers a precise pass that completely avoids a defensive rotation, leading to an easy, high-percentage layup at the rim. This isn't simply passing the ball to an open teammate. It's intentionally forcing the defense into a mistake and creating the easiest shot in basketball. In that moment, Clark is playing chess while the defense is stuck playing checkers. However, as explosive as the first quarter run was, the real story of the game, and the clearest proof of Caitlin Clark's importance to this roster, appeared when she was sent back to the bench. During the second and third quarters, the coaching staff returned to their traditional rotation. Their generational playmaker was taken out, likely to give her some rest, but the effect on the court was disastrous. The offense immediately fell back into the same slow, uninspired, and clunky style that had been seen at the beginning of the game. Without Clark's presence stretching the floor, the Italian defense was able to tighten up again. Passing lanes disappeared, fast break opportunities vanished, and the offense was forced into difficult isolation shots late in the shot clock. To truly understand the difference, you only have to look at the numbers. During the middle quarters of the game, when Caitlin Clark was off the floor, Team USA only managed to outscore Italy by 7 points. Every possession became a struggle, and every basket had to be fought for. It was the kind of grinding basketball that leaves a team vulnerable to a major upset on the international stage. Instead of flowing as a team, the offense relied heavily on individual efforts. The entire system looked stagnant, almost as if the team was waiting for someone to rescue them from their own offensive struggles. Then the fourth quarter arrived. Finally, the coaching staff made the move that fans and analysts have been waiting to see. They placed Caitlin Clark, Paige Buchers, and Kelsey Plum on the court together at the same time, unleashing a lineup that instantly changed the energy of the game.
She said some nice, free up some space. Step back, signature Caitlin Clark 3 with the step back going left. Angel Reese actually excited about it, if you can believe it. If you can believe it, look at all that space. Pull up. Bang! To end the quarter. Now Angel Reese bricks this.
If you ever doubt her ability to break down elite international defenders in isolation, just watch the sequence on repeat. Critics often argue that she relies too heavily on the three-point shot and lacks the tight ball handling skills expected from a traditional point guard. But this play completely destroys that narrative. Clark is isolated on perimeter and begins with a smooth behind-the-back dribble that freezes a defender's momentum. She immediately transitions into a between-the-legs move to establish rhythm, then stops on a dime and rises into a turnaround fadeaway jumper right in the defender's face. The mechanics are flawless, the footwork is precise, and the release is lightning fast. It's the type of shot that crushes a defender's confidence because even when the defense is played perfectly, it still doesn't matter. In that moment, Clark shows she is a multidimensional scoring threat performing at the highest level. But the fourth quarter wasn't only about individual shot making. It also revealed the growth of team chemistry and pushed back against the toxic online narratives about jealousy and locker room tension. There's been constant talk suggesting that Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark cannot coexist on the same team. Clips have been analyzed frame by critics try and prove some hidden rivalry or sabotage. However, the game footage from the fourth quarter of this matchup completely shatters that storyline and proves that those narratives simply don't hold up when you actually watch the game.
There she is. Gives Caitlin Clark the ball. Caitlin Clark pushing it. Paige already up the... Oh, look at the threading the needle. Sweet. Oh, in between two defenders. Pass was so good that defender almost fell over. Look at that. Pass so good. Up, stump.
Look at the incredible unselfish chemistry in this play. Angel Reese, the same player the internet constantly claims dislikes playing with Clark, sets a powerful and perfectly timed screen. She completely wipes out the perimeter defender, doing the hard physical work and creating the space needed for play to develop. Caitlin Clark immediately takes advantage of that opening with deadly precision. Using her signature step-back move, she fades to the left, creates a massive amount of separation, and launches a deep shot from logo range. The ball snaps cleanly through the net, and Reese can be seen celebrating the shot with excitement. This is what championship basketball looks like. It's about combining individual strengths to form an unstoppable collective force. Reese brings a physical presence, while Clark delivers the lethal long-range scoring. When those two players are operating together in pick-and-roll actions or dribble handoffs, there isn't a defensive scheme capable of stopping them. And if their half-court chemistry wasn't already impressive enough, the transition offense in the fourth quarter became a masterclass in speed and execution. In basketball, the moment a team secures a defensive rebound, a small window opens where the opposing defense is vulnerable and out of position. That opportunity only lasts a couple of seconds. With a traditional point guard who slowly walks the ball up the floor, that window quickly disappears. But with a player like Caitlin Clark, whose instinct is to push the pace immediately, the fast break becomes devastating. In one sequence, Kiki Irefin fights through heavy traffic to grab a crucial defensive rebound. Instead of trying to dribble up the floor herself, she immediately locates her point guard and delivers a clean outlet pass. The moment the ball touches Clark's hands, the Italian defense is already in trouble. Paige Buchers instantly recognizes the situation and sprints down the court. Clark pushes the ball forward at full speed, scanning the retreating defenders in real time. She spots Buchers cutting toward the basket, but two Italian defenders are positioned directly in the passing lane. For most point guards, that window would be considered closed and they would slow the play down to set up the offense. Clark sees it differently. She fires an unbelievably precise pass with incredible velocity, threading it between the defenders so perfectly that one of them nearly stumbles trying to intercept it. The ball arrives directly in Buchers' stride, leading to an effortless finish at the rim. When Caitlin Clark and Paige Buchers share the court, the offense becomes more than just effective. It turns into a clinic in spacing, shooting, and playmaking that makes a game look almost effortless. The contrast throughout the game was impossible to ignore. The slow, grinding style of the second and third quarters was completely different from the fast, fluid, high-energy offense scene in the first and fourth quarters. That difference was dictated almost entirely by the presence of one player. The box score tells the story clearly. Caitlin Clark finished the game with 12 points, 5 assists, and an astonishing 102% true shooting percentage. In advanced basketball analytics, true shooting percentage measures overall scoring efficiency by combining field goals, three-pointers, and free throws. Reaching a 102% mark means operating at an almost perfect level of offensive efficiency, maximizing nearly every shot in possession. But the most revealing statistic was the plus-minus rating. Clark ended the game with a team-high plus 25. In a game where the middle quarters were highly competitive, the minutes she played were completely dominant for Team USA. When Clark was on the floor, the United States outperformed Italy by 25 points. The team scored heavily in the first quarter when she entered early, and again in the fourth quarter when she closed the game. During the stretches when she sat on the bench, the offense struggled and looked disorganized. The difference was so obvious that it felt like watching two completely different teams wearing the same jerseys. This game highlighted a turning point for Team USA. The time for protecting veteran hierarchies and traditional rotations may be running out. When a player delivers elite efficiency, a massive positive impact rating, and completely transforms a stagnant offense into a high-powered system, it becomes difficult to justify keeping that player on the bench at the start of games. Assistant coach Nate Tibbetts recognized the problem early, inserting Clark into the game when the offense was struggling. But a team shouldn't need an emergency situation to rely on its most impactful player. As international competition becomes tougher and more demanding, Team USA may need to reconsider its approach and fully hand control the offense to the player who clearly changes everything when she steps on the court. If you enjoy deep basketball breakdowns that focus on strategy, film study, and advanced analytics rather than mainstream narratives, make sure to subscribe and support the channel. And share your thoughts in the comments. Should the coaching staff finally make Caitlin Clark the permanent starting point guard for Team USA?